Magandang araw mga kasayko! I'm Randy Dellosa, the only Filipino who is a psychiatrist, clinical psychologist, and master psychotherapist, all rolled into one. Today, we're tackling a hot topic, that of mandatory ROTC. It's being pushed as a way to build discipline and patriotism, but from a psychiatric and psychological lens, I'm saying it's an added burden that could damage our youth's mental health. ROTC, or Reserve Officers Training Corps, is a military-style program to train students in leadership and defense, making them reservists for the Armed Forces of the Philippines. ROTC is part of the National Service Training Program, or NSTP, alongside Civic Welfare Training Service and Literacy Training Service. Right now, students can choose, but the push to make ROTC mandatory for grades 11, 12, or college is loud. President Marcos Jr. and VP Sara Duterte are all in with a proposed staggering 61.2 billion peso budget. Sayang naman kasi that budget is enough to build 24,480 classrooms. But here's the question. Kailangan ba talaga ang mandatory ROTC? Our youth are already drowning in too much stress. Stress from academics, social pressure, and the mental health crises. A 2023 CEAP survey showed that 54% of students perceive ROTC as a burden, not as a path to patriotism. As a psychiatrist, I'm warning mandatory ROTC risks anxiety, trauma, and even PTSD in some students. ROTC started in 1935 via the National Defense Act to prepare for World War II. During Marcos Sr.'s martial law, it got militarized, requiring it in colleges if they had a population of 250 or more male students. After the 1986 revolution, it became optional. Now, let me tell you a very tragic piece of trivia. In 2001, UST student Mark Wilson Chua exposed ROTC corruption big time, and he was kidnapped for it and even killed for it. His death led to RA 9163, making ROTC optional under NSTP. But now, with 29 bills in Congress, the push to make ROTC mandatory again is back. Bakit? They say it's for discipline and patriotism. Pero, can mandatory ROTC really instill inner discipline and authentic patriotism? Now, let's bust some myths with facts. Myth number 1, ROTC raw is the only way to teach discipline. And of course, this is totally false. The other two programs of NSTP, such as the Civic Welfare Training Service and Literacy Training Service, teach civic duty, disaster preparedness, and community service without military stress. And about sports, arts, and academics, all of them effectively build discipline too in a non-military way. Myth number 2, ROTC raw is the only way to teach patriotism, and this is wrong. You can demonstrate love of country in many ways, such as by voting wisely, by volunteering to help indigent Filipinos, or even by visiting Filipino tourist spots and by patronizing Filipino-made products. You see, patriotism doesn't develop from marching under the sun. Myth number 3, Mandatory ROTC raw prepares us for war. But this is totally untrue, especially now. Kasi modern warfare needs technology such as AI, drones, cyber skills, not just reservists. What our military needs is equipment. And what benefit can our military get from stressing out students through mandatory ROTC? Myth number 4, ROTC is safe na raw and already reformed. But unfortunately, sadly, this is farthest from the truth. Kasi from 1995 to 2023, there were 14 documented cases of hazing, sexual abuse, and even murder in ROTC. In fact, CHED logged 27 maltreatment complaints from 2015 to 2023. Since the exposure of Mark Chua, bribes for exemption still happen. And so, the ROTC culture of abuse and bribes has not vanished. Mandatory ROTC is certainly a mental health red flag. From a psychiatric perspective, here are reasons why mandatory ROTC is a big psychological no-no. Number 1, ROTC triggers anxiety and trauma. And this is expected kasi the authoritarian setup such as shouting officers, physical punishment, and the obey or else vibes can spark anxiety or PTSD, especially for students with mental health issues. Number 2, mandatory ROTC is added stress. Of course, Gen Z and Gen Alpha are already overwhelmed by school, and adding ROTC plus the costs for uniforms and fees hits poor families hard. This isn't discipline, it's stress overload. Number 3, ROTC normalizes abuse through hazing and verbal abuse, which leads to trauma, not patriotism. Mga kasayko, here are 5 action steps we need to do. Number 1, go viral on TikTok, Instagram, and X, sharing stories of ROTC abuses and mental health risks. Message your congressmen and senators with hashtag no to mandatory ROTC. Number 2, support or start petitions on change.org, like the 2022 one with thousands of signatures. Number 3, join campus forums and invite mental health experts to expose ROTC's psychological risks. And number 4, push for more funding for civil welfare training service and literacy training service, which teach civic duty without the military vibe. Number 5, if you are psychologically unfit, know your rights. House Bill 8961 allows you to get exempted from ROTC. However, if you do go through ROTC, talk to a counselor if ROTC affects your mental health. This is my message to lawmakers. Prioritize our youth's mental health over mandatory ROTC. You should know that patriotism and discipline don't develop by stressing them out through military drills. Our youth need a sense of empowerment and inspiration before patriotism and discipline can grow within. Mga kasayko, let's ditch mandatory ROTC and instead choose mental health and true love for country. Till our next video, God bless you and always take care of your mental health.